Who is this actually good for, who should skip it, and is it worth the price for normal everyday buyers? Those are the three questions that keep popping up whenever a woodchipper scrolls past a high-end cabinet saw on Amazon. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. If you've ever stood over a cheap portable table saw, watched the blade bite into a board and prayed the safety system would kick in, you know how much that split-second decision can cost. That nervous feeling is exactly what makes the SAWSTOP professional cabinet saw such a tempting, yet intimidating, purchase. Let's start with the hesitation most people feel. A 3-horsepower motor, a 52-inch rip fence, and a proprietary safety system aren't cheap, and the footprint of an 85-inch wide, 33-inch deep cabinet can dominate a modest shop. The first thing I asked myself was, do I actually need that kind of muscle for the projects I do, or am I buying a status symbol that will sit under a dust collector most of the time? The answer, for many hobbyists, is maybe. For anyone who runs a small business wood shop, builds custom cabinets, or cuts large sheets of plywood on a regular schedule, the extra power and the built-in safety net can be a game changer. The SAWSTOP safety system is the headline feature, and it's not just marketing hype. The mechanism detects the electrical conductivity of human flesh and drops the blade within 5 milliseconds, stopping the cut before a serious injury. In real-world terms, that means you can push a board through the cut, lose focus for a split second, and still walk away with just a minor nick. For a shop that trains new apprentices, that safety net is worth more than the price difference between a basic cabinet saw and this one. I've heard from a few shop owners that the peace of mind alone justifies the expense, especially when insurance premiums can be lower because of that built-in protection. Now let's talk about the practical strengths that show up in day-to-day use. First, the 3 HP motor provides enough torque to rip through 3/4-inch ch hardwood without stalling, and it holds speed consistently even when you're cutting a long panel on the 52-inch fence. That consistency matters when you're making precise cabinet doors. You can trust the saw to stay at the same RPM from start to finish, which reduces tear out and gives you cleaner edges. The T-Glide fence, with its heavy-duty square construction, slides smoothly across the rails and locks tightly. I've seen people try to push the fence a fraction of an inch and feel it give. With this system, the fence stays dead and square, which saves a lot of time when you're setting up repetitive cuts. Another strength is the overall fit and finish. The cabinet is bolted to a steel frame and the rails sit on a granite-like tabletop that dampens vibration. When you're ripping a 48 sheet of MDF, the whole unit stays rock solid, and you don't get the chatter that cheap models produce. That stability translates directly into less waste because you're not constantly having to trim off rough edges caused by a wobbly saw. The extension table also gives you the extra length you need for long boards, and it folds away neatly when you're tight on space. On the flip side, there are a few trade-offs that matter once the saw is in your shop. The first is the size. Even with the extension table folded, the cabinet occupies a footprint that can dominate a 1,012-foot shop. If you're working in a garage that also houses a bike, a treadmill, and a workbench, you'll need to think hard about where to put it. Some users have had to rearrange the whole layout, moving the dust collector to the opposite wall just to make room for the saw's door swing. The second trade-off is the price. The SAWSTOP professional cabinet runs close to 4 figures, and while the safety system is priceless for many, it does put this saw out of reach for a casual weekend woodworker who only builds a few birdhouses a year. A practical weakness that shows up in the field is the reset process after a safety stop. When the blade drops, a brake cartridge needs to be replaced and the blade reinstalled. It's a straightforward process, but it does take a few minutes and a spare cartridge. If you're in the middle of a production run and a safety stop triggers, you'll lose a little momentum. That's why the safety system shines most in environments where safety is non-negotiable, rather than in a high-volume factory setting where downtime must be under a minute. Another point to consider is the power draw. The 3 HP motor pulls a significant amount of electricity, so you'll need a dedicated 240-volt circuit. If your shop still runs on a 110-volt line, you'll have to upgrade your electrical panel, which adds hidden cost. I've spoken with a few buyers who didn't realize that until after the purchase, and they ended up hiring an electrician to bring the saw online. So, who should buy this saw? If you run a professional shop, A.